Today we're going to review the Glenfarclas 10-year-old. Hello YouTube and welcome to Happy Hour. Today I have another bottle of Scotch. We're going to stick to Scotland today and we're going to review the Glenfarclas 10-year-old. Now this has been, Glenfarclas for me is a relatively new find, I guess. I've been familiar with the name for quite a few years, but never really got around to trying them. There's so many out there to try, and I want to make my way around to all of them. But Glenfarclas has been on the list for a while, and over the last maybe couple of months, I've just started purchasing some of the Glenfarclas. I started with the 10. I've got the 105 as well, and 12-year-old, and the 15-year-old I just got. And weird thing with the 15-year-old is I don't think you can get it in the US. So I actually got my bottle from Norway, believe it or not. But so anyways, we're going to start with the 10 because it was my introduction to Glenfarclas. And it really has become maybe one of my favorite younger expressions. So I'm looking forward to it. Stick around, let's dive in. So the Glenfarclas, I think it translates to like Valley of the Green Grass. Valley of the Green Grass, yeah. And they're a very, very old distillery. They've been around a long time. And I think one of the cool things about them that I've read is they're still family owned. So it's the grandson or the great grandson is kind of still running the distillery. They're a relatively small distillery, especially when you compare them to the big guys, the Glenlivets and the Glenfiddich and a lot of the other Glens. They're a relatively small distillery and still family owned. So that's kind of cool. They also have a very cool retro look to all their bottles. They're all this kind of classic shape brown bottles with the kind of beige and light red writing and the old Skrillex, and they're all basically the same, just with a different age statement and maybe some slight variations to the label. But what I found is just really good whiskey for a relatively good value. So with that being said, let's open her up and have a taste. So if you watched any of my other videos relatively recently, I may have I've brought up Glenfarclas several times for various reasons in various videos. But the one thing that really appealed to me when I first tried this was the smell. I like Glenlivet, I like Glenfiddich, a lot of the standard, maybe whiskeys that everybody starts trying when you start getting into scotches. And what I found with this was there was immediately a completely unique and different nose. And let's see if I get it right now. Yes. All right, so this is a sherried whiskey. These are matured in sherry casks, or at least finished off in sherry casks. I can't remember, but they're very sherry influenced. And I get this incredible green apple scent. So it's not green apple as in kind of green apple Jolly Rancher, which I mentioned during my green spot video. This is like an apple cider vinegar almost. Not the vinegar part I know sounds gross, but there's a beautiful apple cider interesting note right in the beginning with the obvious, I think that's the sherry influence, but the fact that I think that it's also a younger whiskey being a 10-year-old, there's that kind of almost effervescence or sparkly note that goes with the apple cider. So it really fits with the apple cider side of things. So let's get on the nose again. Yeah, so I get almost a fizzy, tons of fruit in here. It's very sweet on the nose. I get that apple cider. I get a lot of dried fruits as well, kind of raisins and just that general warm, sweet, darker, sweet notes. The sherry obviously is an influence on both of those. Yeah, it's a really, really, really nice combination of the higher, kind of fresher, sparkly apple cidery notes with this sweet, kind of dried fruit note. It really, when I first tried this, or when I first smelt it, it really caught my attention. I was like, wow, this really is the next level from your kind of, dare I say, kind of entry level, or maybe, scotches that beginners tend to try, the names that yeah, it was very intriguing, hence me buying several more bottles of different types of theirs, different agings. So let's give it a taste. So it's very, very sherry apparent, sweet and deep. You get a lot of the dried fruits. A lot of the dried fruits on the immediate taste. There's a little bit of sharpness that I would attribute maybe to the youngness. So it's a nice combination of the dark, sweeter, dried fruit notes. I do get a little bit of that cidery note or cidery taste, and then kind of a little bit of an effervescence, dare I say, kind of a sparkly higher end sweetness. For a 10-year-old, again, I haven't had that many really old whiskeys. The ones that I've had, I know I felt like there was a lot of the edges kind of get rounded off and it becomes more of a real mellow sipping whiskey, a lot deeper notes. This, I think, for a 10-year-old, there's quite a bit going on. It's well rounded. It's well balanced. It has a lot of flavors on the deep end and on kind of the higher end, the higher kind of sharper notes, I guess. It's really, really great. So I would recommend this really to anyone. It's fantastic whiskey. So here where I live, I think it's about $50. They have quite a few expressions, quite a few age statements. Like I said, I think, 10, 12. They have a 15, which I have. You can't get in the US, but I believe you can get it in Canada, and obviously you can get it in Europe. Then I think they go to a 17. I think there's a 20. I don't know if there's a 21. I don't know if there's a 25. And then 40 and 30. There's like 10 different age statements. And for their ages, I think they're pretty reasonable. Like even like their 25-year-old is like $150, $160, which isn't inexpensive. But I think if you compare that to a lot of other 25-year-old age statements of other whiskeys, it's relatively inexpensive. This guy, like I said, is about $50. The 12-year-olds, I think, is only $5 more. The 17, I think, gets up into that $80 range. So I would definitely recommend this for, I don't know if it was your first Scotch, it might be a little bit too much, but probably not. There's nothing really crazy going on. It is only 40% ABV, so it's not a real firecracker. It's pretty smooth. It's a little spiky, but like I said, it's really well rounded. I would recommend this to specifically, I think, kind of like when I found it, which was somebody who was into the kind of the beginner levels, so the beginning entry levels of finding your single malt scotches, the Glenlivets and the Glenfiddichs and other bottles that are relatively well known in that kind of $30 price range. To kick it up an extra $20, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. There's quite a bit going on, and it's quite different than a lot of the scotches you'll find in the kind of the lower price brackets. So yeah, this is a winner. I'm digging it. I'm really looking forward to cracking the 12-year-old and the 15-year-old. I have tried the 105, which I'll do a review on. I'll do a review on the rest of them too, but I figured this was a great place to start. The 10-year-old, I've mentioned it several times in some of my recent videos, so I obviously really like it. It's stuck in my mind, so I figured it deserved its own review. So yeah, highly recommend it. I would give this, again, considering it's about $50, which isn't that cheap, but I think there's enough going on here to keep you interested, whether you're relatively new or even a veteran drinker. I think I haven't read or I haven't heard any really bad reviews about the Glenfarclas, the 10-year-old even specifically. So I think it's well worth the $50. I would give this easily an 8.5 out of 10. So cheers. I'm going to finish this dram, and hopefully if you've got it, pour yourself one too. If not, go get it and enjoy. Thanks for watching Happy Hour. Please click like. I'd appreciate it. And if you like, click subscribe too. See you next time.